Hello, 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 and welcome back again, YouTube. I am G Sharp Jams, and this is FX Studio 2. And today, we're going to take a look at this little beauty right here, the Solid State Logic UF8. Few upgrades came with it. I know that there are a couple of videos on there now on YouTube about the upgrades that are available, but I just wanted to add my perspective to it. So, stick around and we'll get right to it. Okay, so again, today we're going to talk about the new upgrades for the Solid State Logic UF8. Now, if you're not familiar with the UF8, there are a ton of videos that are already out there on YouTube that you can take a look at. They will give you some really good information. They go pretty in depth, so be prepared to take some notes and pay attention while you're watching the video. But just on a very high level review of the UF8, what exactly is it? The UF8 is a DAW controller. It gives you the ability to control your pan levels, your fader levels, your FX inserts, your send levels, and a host of other things without having to use a mouse. Now, not for nothing, but I can't stand using my mouse. And why? I'm going to show you a few examples a little bit later of why I don't like using the mouse. But just to put it in perspective for you very quickly, let's say you're using a piece of software and you want to control that software with the UF8. Fine and dandy. But if you had to use it with your mouse and you have two different controls within that software that you wanted to move at the same time, you can't do it because you're using a mouse which is only going to control one thing at a time by moving that mouse. With the UF8, all I have to do is grab two controls, slide them up and down, and now I'm controlling two separate controllers within that piece of software. Comes in very handy, especially when you're working with drums or groups or things of that nature. So that's why I really, really prefer not using a mouse, and one of the main reasons why I purchased this UF8. But let's get to it and let's talk about the upgrades for the UF8 that just came out about 2 weeks ago now. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the UF8 control panel where you can make these changes. Now, the first big addition that they added is the ability to control the colors. You can color code most everything on the UF8 now. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can do that. You can take a look below. But while you're taking a look at that, I just want to say this, and I'm kind of lost here because if you actually turn the UF8 on, I'm sure you've seen it in other videos, you get this really cool color show that it puts on it. It just starts spinning the faders automatically and all these different colors pop up on all the different knobs. So the ability to have different colors on different knobs was already there. So why didn't they just initially release this thing with the ability to set those colors? I'm kind of lost there. I'm not complaining. I'm glad it's there. I love the ability to change colors on different channels so that I know green is for drums, red is for the acoustic guitar, purple is for this, pink is for this, yellow is for this. Comes in real handy, very handy, instead of having to look back up at the door and say, okay, well, what was that? Okay, my drums are on channels 5 through 10. Okay, and my acoustic guitar is on channel 2. Now you know instantly. Acoustic guitars, channel 2, yellow. And believe me, after using it for just a few weeks, it comes to you just like that. And you don't have to keep peeking up at the door to remember. Now, of course, the UF8 does have labels. It has a labeling system, so you can actually label the tracks. And within the UF8, you can actually look at this little LCD screen that they have on the top of each channel, and you'll know exactly what it is. The color coding just adds to that, and it makes things a lot easier. The second upgrade is the enhanced MIDI CC control. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with MIDI CC, again, very high level review of what MIDI CC is. MIDI CC is the ability to control different parameters and different controls in a piece of software or hardware automatically from another device. So what they've done is they've implemented advanced MIDI CC controls within the UF8. So you can go to the UF8 and move a fader. And now let's say, for instance, you're using a software synthesizer. One of my favorites is UHE's Hive. Fantastic piece of software. If you're into synthesis, take a look at that synthesizer. It is outrageous what it can do. But anyway, let's just say, for instance, you wanted to go into Hive and you wanted to move an LFO. Well, you would have to take your mouse, put it on that LFO, and then move the mouse so that you're turning that LFO. You can do it with envelopes. You can do it with the XY controllers. You can do it with a host of different things within Hive. Now, you can bring up Hive on your screen and use the UF8 to make those changes instead of using the mouse. Again, giving you the ability to move more than one thing at a time because you have all these different sliders and all these different knobs on the UF8, and each one can be assigned according to where you want it to be. Now, I know that some of you are already thinking, well, doesn't the UF8 already have that ability to control a piece of software or a plugin directly from the UF8? Yes, it does. But here's the big difference. The big difference. Menu diving. Pain in the neck, headache. The UF8 initially gave you the ability to control plugins and other software going through different menus. You go to knob 1, and that's going to control the LFO. Knob 2 is going to control the envelope. Knob 3 is going to control the attack, 4, the decay, 5, the sustain, and so on and so forth. And you can have many, many, many different pages of controls that you now have to scroll through and find on that UF8. Well, was the LFO on page 1 or page 5? Was the envelope sustain on page 7 or page 9? Gets a little confusing, right? Imagine that you have 20 different controls that you want to use, and you're using the UF8 as it came out originally. Solid State Logic has pre-assigned what page those controls are going to be in. So you literally either have to memorize all 20 pages, and who wants to do that? Or you just have to click button. Was it 1? Was it 2? Was it 3? Was it 4? And find it. Now, with the UF8, the big difference is you can physically go into the 360 software that comes with the UF8 and tell the UF8, I want this control assigned to this channel on this knob. So you're setting your own preferences. When you set your own preferences, you're going to automatically remember where you put them. And it just makes your workflow that much easier, that much simpler. That being said, those are the two big things that I wanted to cover with the UF8 and the new upgrades that came out for it. But a couple other things I wanted to touch on very quickly here. Also, I mentioned, I think it was back in January, maybe February, quite a few months ago, that Solid State Logic was going to be coming out with some new plugins that can be used with the UF8 or without the UF8, but they were coming out. And one of them being the multi-band compressor and a few other things, and they have arrived. They have arrived. Most of them are already out there, and from what I understand, there's a few more coming out. You know I'm a big fan of Solid State Logic. You know that they put out quality stuff. We also know that their plugins can be pretty expensive as compared to other plugins, but they are worth every penny. The sound quality that you get out of them, the workability and the workflow is so easy, and then the ability to use them within the UF8. Big plus. Big plus. So, there you go. That's all I wanted to talk to you about today was those two big major upgrades to this UF8 that I have sitting here. I love it. I use it with every project that I record with. Take a look at it. Take a look at some of those other videos that are on YouTube. The Solid State Logic has their own videos that they've done as well. Take a look at those. Also, go to the Solid State Logic website and you can download the user manual. And that will help you become more familiar with this particular piece of gear. Now, I know a lot of people say, I just don't have the time to read a manual. And some of them aren't written very well, and it takes some understanding. I'd rather just watch some YouTube videos and figure it out from there. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. But what I like to say, and I know a lot of other people like to say, the old saying, RTFM. Read the frickin' manual. That's what they put it there for. If you're going to invest the money, go ahead and invest some time into the gear and go through those manuals and learn the inside and outside and everything that it can do. Because I'll tell you, I've been guilty of this. Buy a piece of gear, set it up, glance through the manual real quick. Okay, yeah, I know what that is. Okay, I know what that is. Close the manual, put it aside, and then later come back to the piece of gear in another project and I'm spinning something like, whoa, what was that? I didn't know it could do that. And then I go back to the manual and there it is, right there in front of me. It's in the manual. RTFM. Read the frickin' manual. Everybody, have yourself a great rest of your day. G Sharp Jams out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.